If you've seen Ben-Hur, you already have a picture in your head. Chained men, whipped into rowing, and if one collapses, another takes his place. That's completely false. The men who rowed in the ancient Roman Navy weren't slaves. They were paid. They were trained. Some of them even volunteered. So why was this one of the worst jobs in Roman history? You're about to find out, and trust me, the real story is far more disturbing than the movie version. By the end of this video, you'll find out what actually happened to these men when their ship went down. Most people have no idea, and I think it's going to surprise you. But first, if you're new here, every episode of Work to Death, I step into one of history's worst jobs and walk you through a single day from their point of view. Subscribe, because what's coming next is going to mess with your head. All right, let's get into today's story. 1st century BC, the Roman Navy, a trireme, a warship with 3 rows of oars stacked on top of each other. You're one of 170 men, crammed below deck. Your name doesn't really matter, because nobody calls you by it. They call you by your bench number. Now think about it, before you take a job today, you ask about pay, hours, breaks, right? Same thing back then. You didn't end up here in chains. You signed up, a monthly wage, your choice. By Roman standards, this was actually a decent job. The pay wasn't the problem. The problem was what this ship was about to do to your body. Let's walk through your day. You wake up before sunrise. No sleep in a bed, no bed at all. You sleep on a wooden bench right at your oar, because if the ship sounds a battle alarm, you need to be ready in seconds. The rowing pace is set by a drummer. Yes, an actual drum. 170 men, rowing in the exact same rhythm, in perfect sync, or the ship won't turn, and the oars start smashing into each other. Your job isn't just strength, it's synchronization. In modern terms, think of it like an orchestra that has to stay perfectly in time, except the instrument is your entire body. Now let's talk pay, because this part is actually interesting. A rower in the Roman Navy earned somewhere around 12 denarii a month, roughly 50 sesterces. For comparison, a common laborer in ancient Rome made about 2 sesterces a day, if he could find work at all. So on paper, you're earning more than most people around you. Steady income, guaranteed food, a path to citizenship if you weren't born a citizen already. In return, you're rowing 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. Think about your own job for a second. Does a 10-hour shift sound rough? These men were doing it under the sun, soaked in salt water, using nearly their entire body with every single stroke, not just sitting and pulling. Food, 2 meals a day, grain porridge, sometimes salted fish. Not luxury, but you're not starving. Water is rationed because space on the ship is limited, and dehydration is one of the deadliest enemies of this job. Here's the part that really gets you. Doing the exact same motion for hours every single day permanently deforms your shoulders, spine, and wrists within a few years. What we'd call a repetitive strain injury today. These men were living through for 12 hours a day, day after day. Almost no rower made it to old age doing this job because the body gave out long before that was even a possibility. Could you row for 12 hours straight? Tell me in the comments. And right when everything feels routine, something appears on the horizon, an enemy fleet. You're about to live through the most dangerous moment of this man's life. But first, a quick break. We're back. The enemy ship is closing in, and you're below deck. You can't even see the battle happening. All you hear is the drumbeat, suddenly speeding up. That means one thing: attack maneuver. Here's something most people don't know about the Roman Navy. Rome came late to naval warfare, and early on, their crews just weren't as skilled at ramming and outmaneuvering enemy ships as the Carthaginians were. So the Romans built something brutal and simple: a spiked boarding bridge called the Corvus, the Raven. The moment your ship pulls alongside the enemy, that bridge slams down, spike first, straight into their deck, locked together, no retreat. And that's when the Roman Marines charge across, turning a naval battle into a land battle, which is exactly what Rome was built for. But before any of that happens, you still have to get the ship there. Every man below deck has to row in perfect sync at maximum speed without a single mistake. 1 second off, and your own ship's oars could snap the arms of the men holding them. Now really think about this. You can't see anything. You can only hear. And your entire life depends on staying in perfect rhythm with men you can't even look at. That's about as intense a form of trust as you'll ever find on a battlefield. At the moment of impact, the ship shudders. The Corvus slams down above you. Water starts pouring in somewhere nearby. You hear screaming everywhere. And this is where the real danger shows up. If the ship goes down, the men below deck are the last ones out, because the exit is narrow, and everyone's trying to escape through it at the same time. So here's the question. If you were on that ship, unable to see anything, would you trust a drumbeat with your life? Or would not knowing what's happening outside drive you insane? I genuinely want to know your answer in the comments. Fight blind or know everything? Which would you pick? So what actually happened when a ship went down? Most rowers weren't trained swimmers, and they wore no armor, but staying afloat for a long stretch, exhausted in cold water, gave them terrible odds of survival. Historians estimate that in major ancient naval battles, most casualties didn't actually come from the fighting itself. They came from ships sinking. But here's the part that really gets me. The survivors were reassigned to another ship within days, because Rome needed men, not rested men. So remember that myth I mentioned at the start? Chained slaves? The truth is colder, and honestly more disturbing. These men were free, they were paid, they volunteered, and the system still used them up completely. Sometimes the worst exploitation isn't chains. It's, you chose this, so keep going. That's what made this one of the worst jobs in ancient Rome, and one of the worst jobs in history, period. The only way I get to keep making this channel bigger is with your support. And I'm not asking for money, just something that costs you nothing. Subscribe, like this video, drop a comment. It genuinely makes a difference, because this channel grows entirely through people like you. And for the next episode, it's your turn. Suggest a profession in the comments. A medieval executioner? A Soviet gulag prisoner? Your suggestion might just become the next episode, and I'll tag you in it. I'm worked to death. See you in the next one. And trust me, this next story is going to hit even harder.